one of the most common issues that owners face are slips and falls. What are you guys doing at the wash basket to kind of minimize those and you keep that under control? What is your best advice for that?
Yeah, so we went kind of crazy. We are getting a new parking lot put in, so we did blacktop floors in our laundromat. We just kind of had it all done, parking lot and the floors. Just
Hmm.
kind of smelled for a little while, but I'm just
Hmm.
kidding on that one. Okay.
I
No, I
knew
was
it.
kidding. No, I was hoping to bait you in. You looked, I saw the smirk there. So, no, really, slips, trips, or falls. So slips are, not tripping over something, slipping on water, slipping on a dryer or dryer sheet, something like that. Trips are tripping over a base or a piece of equipment or something like that. So one of the things, and I had a real world experience with one of my customers. They got sued, for six figures. Actually, the insurance company paid it, but they had some slippery floors. There was a customer that had pulled some clothes out of a washer, didn't spin out correctly, or been dripped on the floor. Or walking over to a dryer, a gal walked in with flip-flops
Hmm.
that had a pre-existing knee condition and slipped and fell. And now they do rugs. It's kind of low tech, not very sexy, but
Yeah.
it works. And they've kind of gone some of the smaller rugs so they can actually take them and throw them in their 40 pounders or 60 pounders and
Hmm.
clean them occasionally. I know that, they vacuum them, but those have really helped just with, absorbing some moisture. Certainly in Michigan, we've got a lot of snow and ice up here, but it's really, cut down on that type of potential. So,
Yeah, that's an interesting workaround on that.
yeah.
Yeah. Brian, can you talk to slips and falls a little bit? Any experience you've had with that or what advice you can offer?
Well, first of all, we're blessed to have a really good full-time staff, right?
Hmm.
So it's one of those things that they're on top of them instantly. And the brand of equipment that I chose has an emergency stop button. So some manufacturers do have an emergency stop button. The biggest issue that I see in our store for slip and falls is when somebody closes the door and it's not sealed properly, like a string from a hoodie or something like that, and then that water just starts to go everywhere. And
Hmm.
so in our store specifically is we jump on it, hit the emergency stop button, fix the problem, and then and then clean up the mess. Um, in years ago, that type of technology wasn't available, and the way washing machines work is they fill to a certain level, and if that seal is broken on the door, then that level is never reached. And if it's a really old piece of equipment, it could literally come out the door for you know 5-10 minutes, where you could have not just a gallon of water or half a gallon of water, but a ton. And so
Hmm.
one of the things I would recommend, if slip and falls are a concern to you, which they should be, it's
Hmm.
one more reason to replace old equipment
Hmm.
that doesn't have an emergency stop button, doesn't have, even the machines that don't have emergency stop buttons have fill errors, so they'll turn off after a certain point. But if you
Right.
take a 15-year-old machine, that thing, I think it's 6 or 8 minutes that could run. And if you're running with warm water, it could literally be using hot and warm or hot and cold at a full fill. And so you're talking about gallons and gallons of water
Yeah.
that, in the absence of having an attendant clean it up, that's going to stay there for hours. And
Right.
so it's one more reason. And I'm not in the equipment business, but it's one more reason to get rid of some of that old equipment.
Hmm. Yeah, no, great points, Brian. Thank you. Alex, how about you? What are some best practices that you share with your clients
Uh,
as far as this topic?
Yeah, for slips, I mean, honestly, good staff, good attendants that are looking for those types of things, is going to be your best bet. But besides that, camera systems, for sure. So you have some proof that you can show the adjuster if something does happen. Um, signage, as much as people are kind of in their own world and don't pay attention to that. Any kind of signage you can put in there so people are keeping watch.
Mhm.
If it makes sense, non-slip floor matting, unfortunately, sometimes that becomes a trip and fall hazard. But things like that, I think certainly can help. I'd say staffing, that you train to assist and take care of those slippery floors as quickly as possible is probably your best bet.
Mhm. Great, great advice.
Hey, Bob, just to
Yeah.
piggyback on what Brian was saying.
Mhm.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't agree more on good staff. But also pods. One of the things we've had some leaks on in our 20 pounders and 30 pounders is people putting the pods in the detergent
Mm.
trays and they get gummed up. Those are supposed to be put in the wash directly. And we've had some of those leak on the floor actually multiple times. And staff telling or helping customers with pods and signage. And I'll talk about signage a little bit later about using please instead of don't. But those have been a culprit as well with
Right.
what.
Education on the pods is
Yeah, exactly.
would go a long way. Sure.
Yeah.